It's a poison. That doesn't help the stress level. No, don't do it. Get a grip. This stupid video I just showed you. I almost stroked out and died over it. You're watching a different show. It's donkey. You ain't a captain of nothing but a sinking ship. Don't do this to me, Harry. The Ohio State. It's Ohio State. What do you mean, the? 312-988-15.
Hello?
You tell Johnny all you've heard and seen. Sometimes it's good to just yell about football. Yeah, that's right. That's right. Welcome in. Welcome back, folks, on a Feel Good Friday. Except nobody in my house is feeling good. You get what you ask for, man. Oh, I've been complaining for a month because it's been minus 38 degrees every single day. And I've been complaining about how cold it is. I don't mind regular cold, 30 degrees in the winter in Illinois, whatever. But it's been like minus 30. And I've been complaining about it. It flips out of nowhere to like 40, 50 degrees. Everybody here is sick. Everyone in this house has a different, some sort of sickness. It's a rough scene. My head is bumping. My sinuses are a nightmare. But we got football to talk about. So I'm going to try and get through this as quick as I can. Give it to you guys. Get out of here. Eat some Advil, cold and sinus. It's just, you can't win. When it's minus 30, I'm complaining. And then when it goes to 50, I'm complaining. So we're going to get offensive here for a while. Shouldn't be hard to do, given the track record of this show. So we're going to get offensive for a little while. And I want to ask some specific questions about this offense and where your comfort level with it is. And so this is going to be interesting because we have all these questions. Yeah, same here, minus 6 to 57 degrees in 24 hours, says Suds. Whenever we get that big change, it just knocks the sinuses right out of my head. It's always done that. I don't know. Ooh, Tex. Oh, man. Dude, this is embarrassing. Rudy, do you want to answer this? Pat's not. I don't see Pat in here. Rudy, do you want to answer this? I'm a little embarrassed to tell the truth. And by the way, I'm having a little renaissance in my older age of this coming back. Rudy knows the answer. Tex ND. Did Johnny have a bass bumping system in his car when he was young? I could picture him driving by bumping that Snoop bass. Bro, this is so embarrassing. Through college, I literally had 20-inch rims on an SUV and two 12-inch kicker subs. I think I'm half deaf just from doing it. I literally put 20-inch rims, the whole thing on an SUV that was like a mid-90s I had like in a Isuzu Rodeo. I literally put 20s on that thing. And I filled up the trunk. I had one of those, the big boxes with the amp. I had two kicker 12s in there. They were not spinners. But I put the 20s on there and they were shining. And then when winter comes, you got to take them off because the salt would ruin them. So in the summer, I had the 20s straight up, flossed through the neighborhood. And in the winter, you take them off. You put the originals on for the salt. And then in the good weather, you put it back on. But I literally did have the whole, rectangle box with the 212s and that the amp, hooked into the back. And I'm telling you, it was rattling so much. The back panels of that SUV, when you're bumping Snoop that much, the bolts and the screws would literally undo themselves in the back, and I'd have to go in there and screw them back in. It was, I don't know, man. That's what I did. So I don't even think I have a picture. I didn't even have a cell phone that took pictures back then. But I had the 20s with like the 5-spoke blades that were real sharp. I had the 20s, and those subwoofers were amazing. It was a rolling party everywhere you went. You were in college, you're 20 years old, you're bumping. Oh, man. But I literally, like a couple times a month, I had to just go to the back and re-screw in the paneling because it would rattle so much. So I definitely did it. And you know what I think it was, you guys? I really thought about this. Jay Carr said, yeah, dude, going to spring break, going on vacation, bumping it. It was so much fun. But I got to say, Jay Carr said, I listened to the Doggy Style album in John's honor and listened to all those songs or whatever. You know what it is? I think I'll be honest about it. When you grow up and you're a white, skinny dork from the suburbs who doesn't break any laws, there's like some appeal, not to gang life. Like, I don't want to be a Crip or a Blood, right? But like, there's some appeal when you are a white dork who follows all the rules. There's an appeal to a life where like you just have the balls to do and say whatever you want. You don't give any F's and you just do whatever you want. Like, and you just worry about the consequences later, but you get what you want now. Like there's an appeal to the way, not that life, but like the life of, I'm just going to do whatever I want because it's what I want to do. Do you get what I'm saying? So it's like, here I am, this like total dork, like total white dork from the suburbs who doesn't break any laws. There's an appeal. That's why I think that music sold so well in the suburbs, because it was all these people who like, I kind of admire the way those guys just lived their life and did what they wanted to do and just didn't give a crap about it. But I can never live like that because I'm scared of the law. And like, what would happen to me? Oh, if I do something wrong, I'm going to get in trouble. So like, I do feel like there was this appeal to parts of that life, like the confidence those guys had to just do whatever they wanted to do. Right? But I would never live that way. But there was an appeal to that kind of life of like, dude, I'm a G and we do what we want to do. But I'm not kidding, man. 212 kickers in the back of that SUV. That thing rattled. I mean, you could hear me 3 blocks away. I'm probably half deaf because of it. Recently got a new SUV. And in the back, the spare tires underneath the car, like exposed underneath. But in the back, there's you can flip open the back panel and there's storage underneath. I'm reliving my youth, and it's only 112, but I put an amp and a kicker 12 underneath. Like, I'm sorry. I'm getting into old age. I got real responsibilities. I got a kid. I got real problems, okay? I got real life worries now. One little thing I could have is every once in a while when I want to bump, I want to be able to bump. So when I got the new SUV in November, I got the amp and the sub underneath. It takes up no storage space. So when I got my kid and I got all sorts of like baby, kid stuff and whatever, mature adult stuff, it doesn't take up any storage space the way those 212s took up the whole back of that SUV when I was 20. So I put it in that bottom storage. You'll never see it, but if I want it, you could hear it. I got a little bass knob. I can turn it totally off when my daughter's in the car. And when I'm feeling a little gangster, I'll bump a little bit. I can bump a little bit. So anyways, but it is funny just because I'm a white dork. So me being into any of this is kind of hilarious. It's just funny. Just because of who I am and how I look. But I'm telling you, man, I like that early West Coast stuff, that G-Funk. I actually thought about this. Me and Mark with glasses, we're going to just cruise through Eddy Street, bumping a little regulators. That's what we're going to do for Blue and Gold. Mark's the real gangster around here. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to cruise through Eddy Street. So welcome. I wish I had a picture of that rodeo with the 20s. It looked awesome. It was a cool looking vehicle. Anyways, I want to talk about the Notre Dame offense. John, what would Clayton say if he pulled up next to you at a red light? I can't repeat that on this. I can't repeat it. You guys, I want to talk about this Notre Dame offense. I got a lot of questions about this Notre Dame offense. I see a lot of questions about the defense because there's certain people that aren't sure they could trust Ash. I got a lot of questions about the offense. Somebody said, you guys are hilarious. Every day we get into something that isn't related at all, but it's really, really funny. Somebody said corrupt and Daz. Dude, Daz deserves a lot of credit for a lot of that stuff. He was the one making a lot of those beats. Like, I know Dre, but like Daz was behind a lot of those beats. I love it's a G whistle. The G whistle gets in my brain. I love that beat, that smooth beat. Anyways, I gotta ask some questions about this Notre Dame offense. I see some of you guys want to jump in. I want to ask a couple questions here and then see where you're at. Yeah, the dog pound. Dude, I was bumping New York yesterday. Just smooth, man. I was bumping that New York, big city of dreams. Not everything in New York is always what it seems. And then the trailer got shot at. $5 holler, Rene Martinez. That's my main man. John, Daz is my favorite artist of the old genre. I'm telling you, Daz, unbelievable talent with those beats. Unbelievable talent for sure. Thanks for the $5 holler. But I was bumping that New York record. Unbelievable. Which, by the way, was supposed to be a tribute to hip hop on the East Coast till the video shoot got shot at. Then it turned into a diss track real quick. And I can understand why Snoop pivoted on that. Oh, man. Unbelievable. I love you guys. You never know what you're going to get here. Okay. So thanks for being here. As always, hit subscribe. Give it a thumbs up. Notifications on it way you don't miss nothing. Twitter, search bar, Always Irish Rat, Always Irish Inc. Emails, alwaysirishnd@gmail.com. Notre Dame on SI. Read all about it. Something for you every single day. Every single day. Something for you. Patreon.com/alwaysirish. Most unique college football niche there is. I can tell you that for sure. I can tell you that. Hit the link in the description. It is wild over there, and I love it. Always Irish is just like the Ash defense. You never know what you're going to get. I better know what I'm getting next year. Really good defense every single game. That's what I expect to get next year. It isn't year one, and I don't know what's going on. We're going into a nightmare week one game with all this pressure, and the margin to win is this thing. You ain't got that problem this year. You don't have that problem this year. So that Ash defense, it better go from ashy to classy, Biggie style. Biggie style. That's inappropriate, Kent. I can't answer that. That's inappropriate. You're putting me on the record here. That's inappropriate, Kent. Totally inappropriate. I refuse to answer that. Yes, and yes. But I refuse to go into any details. That's illegal a lot of places. Come on, Kent. Get me in trouble, man. Anyways. I think the Advil cold and sinus is making your boy a little loopy today. Empty stomach, Advil cold and sinus. Here we go. Couple chats, then we'll get into you guys. Jay Carr, good morning. I listened to the Doggy Style album by Snoop on my walk Wednesday. That album is so John. I was chuckling through the whole listen. Telling you, Ain't No Fun is by far my favorite track on the whole thing. Completely inappropriate. Completely just morally corrupt. Not corrupt the rapper, morally corrupt. And Nate Dogg's beautiful pipes singing it all. It is the beat. I love everything about it. It's just the most wrong song I'll ever love. The entire thing. But it's Nate Dogg's pipes are what makes it worth it. Oh, man. Nikki Dean's asking about Lenny the Leprechaun in the corner. Here's the problem. That mask goes to the tailgates. It's been through rain, sleet, snow, and 98-degree sun. The mask is starting to fall apart. I went on eBay. I can't find another one like it, and all the other ones look crappy. That's the problem. I bring that thing everywhere, and it's at these tailgates, it's getting weathered, man. That thing's cracking. It got wet, then it got sun. It got a little of everything. Look at this from Tex. Ain't this the most appropriate thing of all time? Good morning to Johnny, the Kennedy family, and the always entertaining, provocative, and sometimes inappropriate, always Irish family. Always a mystery on what tangent we may embark on during live shows. Ain't it the truth? You never know what you're going to get here. You never know. Tex, this is a good point, too. Is it just me that gets nervous and apprehensive when Notre Dame gets too much positive hype? Recency bias for the last 38 years. Here's where I'm at with this. You're never going to be able to make me happy. When everybody's crapping on Notre Dame, I'm mad about that, wanting to defend our honor. And then when everybody's pumping Notre Dame up, then I'm going, is it real or do you just want to use us for views and clicks and traffic? So I don't know what I want people to do because I'm mad when we get crapped on. And then when people pump us up, I'm mad about that too because I question how genuine it is. So I don't know. It's, look at this. Commander's trying to get me. He's trying to give me a stroke first thing in the morning. Jay Carr, I read somewhere, Kelly may be a TV announcer for 26 Irish home games. You know what? Could you imagine the intrigue? I know you're just joking, trying to get my blood pressure up when I'm already sick, but could you imagine the intrigue of Brian Kelly covering Notre Dame games? I don't believe he has the proper relationship with the university to be able to make that work right now. Could you imagine that? It would be very entertaining. It would be very interesting to see that guy looking at all this from a third-party perspective. That would be very, very interesting. Maybe NBC could give him that 10-year, $100 million contract Swarbrick wouldn't give him. Telling you. The golf course is a good place for that guy right now. The golf course is a good place for him. So, Renee, I love you, buddy. Renee's texting me. He's got some plans for the blue and gold game. This is beautiful. Okay, I'm caught up on the chats. I see a few of you guys want to talk. Let me throw the topic out. Then I'll bring you guys up and you can go on with your day. And then I can get out of here and go eat a bunch of more cold pills. The other day, we talked about your confidence in the Notre Dame defense and Chris Ash. Today, I want to flip it over to offense. For some Irish fans, there's still a question of your full trust level in Chris Ash. And I understand that. With some of you, there is still a question of whether you trust that guy or not. Okay? However, the actual too deep, God, I got that New York song stuck in my mind. The video, Snoop's kicking over all the high-rise buildings in New York City. I can't get it out of my head. New York, big city of dreams. Okay, so you still have questions about that defense. However, they primarily revolve around the coach, not the talent. I think people feel pretty good about the Notre Dame too deep on defense. So, and the biggest question to me with that defense is, with Charlie Partridge, are you going to be able to get more out of the guys that were already on the roster? And then how do you blend in the portal guys on top of that? Okay. So that's the big question that I see. Okay. It's like, to me, I feel good about the linebackers. You miss KVA. There's nothing you can do about it. Feel good about the secondary. I want to see, can you get more out of that defensive line, that defensive front? Come on, man. Can you get more out of that? That's my biggest question. I want to see him get more out of the existing group, blend in the new guys, be able to get more pressure just with the D line and not have to bring everybody from the next level. That's my question. But I feel pretty good about that overall. But people have questions about Ash. Switch it over to offense. You're replacing 89% of your rushing offense, 65% of the pass production. There's a lot of moving parts. What is your comfort level with this? Here's the way I see it. Let me break it down for you. Let me break it down for you as clean as I can. Does Carr live up to the Heisman hope? Who steps up at the running back position when you have 89% of your stats gone? How does the revamped wide receiving core look? Who emerges amongst those younger, that next batch of tight ends? And of course, what does the Notre Dame offensive line look like? Is Craig and Jags going to stay in one piece? All of that stuff I talked about starts and ends with that offensive line. And I want to know what you think they're going to be and where they're at. Do you trust their health and the reliability and what that's going to be? But I literally have legit questions with every single part of the offense. I don't have that on the defense. Carr, I just can't wait to see what year 2 looks like in all this. The running backs, we've been debating that too much, probably. The wide receivers, what? Don't get mad at me if you're a believer in these wide receivers. Faison's the only one I really trust. Am I wrong in that? Who else do you trust to ball from the wide receiver group? Greathouse? Do you? Do you trust what you're going to get out of Greathouse? Gilbert, Cam, Burris, Graham, Porter? What? I don't know. I have questions about all that. I trust Faison's about the only one that I trust 100%. I got questions about all the rest of them. Somebody says, I trust Greathouse. What happened last year that gives you trust in Greathouse? So if you want to say it's injury related, I totally understand that. But regardless of the reason, I either trust or I don't trust, regardless of the reason. So Faison's about the only one that I have that trust in. If Greathouse is healthy and starts being productive again, add him in. Sure. I want to trust it, but I don't as I sit today. Kicker, can you make an extra point this year? Just wondering. Can you make an extra point? That'd be a delightful treat. Can you make an extra point? So I got questions about this. I have questions across the board with every single part of the offense that I can't wait to see. How does Mike Denbrock decide to set all this up? Is it more of a pass to set up the run dynamic? Establish the new backs and have trust? It may not be Love's athleticism, but they're going to be just fine, and you just plug in the next guys with Coach Cider, whatever, drinking a cider, running with the Cedar, whatever. Where did the Ohio State wide receivers fit in this rotation? Can one or both become big-time playmakers that open all this up? Is it rare to any of you? You have a team that has among the highest odds to win the championship, and you have so many what I think are legit questions on the offensive side? Or do you think, John, you're doing what you do, over-exaggerating, worrying about everything, it's the offseason, everything's in your mind, you're overdoing this? Maybe you just think all of these pieces are just going to slot in where they slot in and it's all going to be fine. And those receivers will find their way into their roles. The running backs are going to get comfortable and establish themselves as who does what. Maybe you believe that. You can tell me if you think I'm overreacting or just over worrying. I'm open to that. So that's kind of where I'm at. Always Irish Senior. Good to see you, buddy. Checking in from the beach. Go Irish. Nothing like a beer for breakfast. God bless you, Senior. Telling you what, man. You work your whole life. You work your ass off to support your pain-in-the-ass kid like me. You finally retire. God bless you. Sit on the beach in the morning and drink that beer, Dad. You've earned it. You deserve it. Good for you, man. Good for you. So I just have a lot of questions here. But here's where I feel good. And then I'll bring it to you guys. Here's where I feel good and confident. Said it before, I'm going to say it again. What I love about 2026 for Notre Dame is you should be able to ease into the year without your winning margin being a centimeter, where if you're not damn near perfect, you're going to lose. Okay? I love that. I love that. You should be able to get into this, work out some kinks, figure out who can do what role while you're winning games. You did not have that flexibility the last 2 years. You had to be really damn tight and almost perfect against A&M to start, and then go into Miami last year. You should not have that kind of pressure to have to be near perfect to get wins early in this schedule. That gives me a lot of trust. I like that. That is the saving grace I have from really stressing out about all this. Okay? And then here's the next thing, and then I'll give it to you guys, and then I'll go pound some more cough medicine. I'm telling you this right now. BYU wants a piece. I'm just telling you right now. BYU wants piece of Notre Dame bad. Okay? I do not believe they have an elite talent roster top to bottom. I'm just telling you, no one should be surprised. You're going to get their all. They want you. They think you ducked them in the Pop-Tarts Bowl. They want a piece. And you're going out there. It isn't Penn State Stadium and a night out or whatever. I'm just telling you. They want a piece, and you better be ready to go out there and shut it down. That's a totality of the moment and vibe tough game. Not like I'm playing an elite roster tough game. Those are different. But BYU wants peace. And you need to be undefeated going out to Provo, beat the crap out of them, shut them all up, send them home, soak it. You know what I'm talking about? So that's where I'm at on that. So I want to know from you guys, do you share any of my anxiety around the Notre Dame offense, or am I overdoing it? Tell me if I'm overdoing it. Let's get into it. Let's get to you guys. We're going to go Adam and then the mayor of Chicago. I see JT. Adam, good morning.
Good morning, John. Good morning, buddy.
Adam, tell me, I'm overthinking this. I'm worrying about it. But I have legitimate questions on every part of that Notre Dame offense. I have real questions about. Make me feel better. Give me something.
I can't. I'm on board with you.
Come on. You're supposed to make me feel better about the anxiety. Say, John, it's all going to work out.
John, it'll all work out. However, with that being said, I have questions on every single level as well, and it's naturally so because of the fact of how much turnover there's been, how much production has left the room. The one thing that does kind of calm my anxiety or my worry or, wonder about it down a little bit is, again, the fact that Mike Denbrock's in the building. You still have the continuity of the hierarchy of the leadership and the coaching capital and whatnot. And so if you have that, then I think the pieces underneath, as well as like how they're going to, kind of manipulate the offensive line, depending on who's healthy versus not. And CJ Carr coming into his second year. Aeneas Williams is not just a rookie, right? He's got game time. He's got film. He's got, reps under his belt. So those kinds of things make me feel a lot better about it. And I'm really excited to really see the plug and play of the transfer portal players, especially the wide receivers, is after watching Malachi Fields and that athleticism and that reach. I could tell you when I went to the Stanford game last year and watching Malachi Fields and his athleticism, only a couple feet from us, and how big and long he was able to just really stretch plays out. And you could see the difference between kind of that man body versus a lot of some of the kids that are out there. And so I want to see that kind of stretch and then also some extra speed out there that's coming in from the portal.
Yeah, Adam, I'm a little surprised with all this production gone. Notre Dame's being talked about the way they are about title contempt. Surprised nobody's like, well, wait, I kind of want to see how all these pieces come together. I'm a little surprised by it. No,
yeah,
maybe there's so much belief in CJ Carr nationally. Maybe that is like the thing. But I look at it and you have more questions than answers in my mind on the offense. Well, I don't know. Am I seeing it wrong? Am I just a worrier?
No, John, you and I and everybody else here looks at Notre Dame with a finite, comb and magnifying glass. And we're looking at every little nuance and ingredient that's put and plugged and played and taken out and inserted here or there. And it's just, we understand Notre Dame football to the nth degree. And when you bring in people like you have on the Patreon who are now a part of your team, it's even more so. Right. So we're breaking it down all the way through. The national media, they do exactly what they do. They hype up whoever it is that they choose to focus in on. And so this year they're focusing in on, now that Saban's gone and Kirby Smart's team's looking a little bit more mediocre, and the transfer portal has spread all the 5 stars out of the SEC and is kind of like sprinkled them everywhere. You have a lot more different teams that you can start focusing in on than that of Nick Saban's Alabama Crimson Tide, right? So now they're looking at it from a different standpoint. They're like, well, what about Notre Dame? The conspiracy side of it, which I always love to like kind of look at and just I wonder, is the fact that are they looking at us and putting us up there because we put up a stink and we said all this stuff about ESPN and the committee and all these different things that we should have been in the playoffs, and we had our little, bitching and moaning session. And so they're like, okay, cool. Well, if you feel like you're that big of a contender, we've been hearing about it all these years, and everybody's been like kind of downplaying your schedule, downplaying the independence, downplaying the program in general, that this isn't the Newt Rockne days. Well, then here you go. You're in top 5 and we think you should win it. Now go prove us wrong, And they want us to prove them wrong. They want us to sit there and fail. That's the conspiracy side of things, But the reality, Johnny boy, is that we, like you said in that video the other day, hey, we've wanted this forever, So let's go and get it. I mean, It's exciting. It's
But
like,
Adam,
yeah.
do you understand? I was, man, it's rare that I do one of those videos and I can't precisely nail the exact thing I'm going for. I was struggling in that one a little bit to nail the vibe. But do you get what I'm saying? There's like this hesitation to buy into the hype you're getting about the team you love. And it's just putting you in a weird spot. And I don't know if it's subconscious. People are scared to buy in and be let down when they really thought this was going to be the year. And then if it doesn't happen, you're going to be really extra let down. I don't know what it is, but I feel some vibe where the whole ecosystem's trying to figure out exactly where they should be and why. Does that make sense?
It most certainly does. And let me give you the psychology as I see it. It's the reason why it makes people a little bit more nervous on the Notre Dame side is because when you bet on yourself and it's just you betting on yourself and you're the only one who thinks that you can do it, and then you fail, you only have to deal with the noise that is really coming from in between your ears, right? But when you're sitting here and everybody else is saying you should win, you have the talent, you have the coaching staff, you have all these different things. You should have been in the playoffs last year, sure. Now you should do it now because you're, in some cases in Josh Pate's world, number one in the country. It's if you fail, everybody's going to be looking at you like, what happened? You should have won. And that's where I was talking about last time of what was it? Where it was if we ended up doing what Indiana did last year, go 12-0 regular season, 16-0 in the whole thing and win the whole thing, the noise is still going to be there. Well, you guys had a softer schedule, so you were able to get through it a lot easier and be more, fresh for the playoffs. Oh, well, you were number one anyway, so you should have won. And I mean, what did you expect? This is what you got to do. Now go do what all those other coaches did and run it back again. Go, 2 in a row, 3 out of 4, things like that. It will never end. So this is kind of like everybody's doubling down on Notre Dame. We're doubling down because of the fact and tripling down because we're Notre Dame fanatics and we're fans and this is what we're here for. But now with the national media kicking into gear and saying you need to go do this because we're saying that you're going to, it makes it like, hey, we got to prove these guys wrong because they've been talking negative about us forever, for decades. Until it talks about like the history. When they talk about the history of Notre Dame, then you're sitting there going, wow, that's fantastic. Yeah, look at all these great years. But when they talk about the present and how we've been kind of like a non-contender, but we get in because of the brand name. Well, now it's like, hey, listen, let's get out there and let's prove them wrong. And so we all have to, when I say we, I mean the Notre Dame nation, have to be completely focused in on the goal and on the why and what it is that we're doing and get out there and do everything you possibly can. And that is the leave no doubt, not give any F's about anything else about other than success.
Yeah, it's man, this is going to be such an exciting build up, Adam. Like I can't wait. Spring, I'm so excited for spring. Just to be able to see some of these new faces moving around, what we got. August camp's going to be electric. There's like I just can't wait. But you get into the off season where the news cycle goes down and you just don't know whether you're getting in your own head because there's nothing else going on, or you don't know whether you're spot on. It's just, I personally have a lot I need to see out of every single part of that offense. There's a lot that needs to come together. I think it can, but I have questions all over the place.
It can. It's really, I mean, what is football? Football is the ultimate team sport. It is something that will, resonate with people throughout life as far as their ups and downs and fighting through adversity and all these different things. And in this case, for Notre Dame, it's been next person up, right? How many times have we had to deal with injuries where it was like, okay, next man up and let's go. Yeah. But now this isn't with an injury side. This is more of like, hey, in terms of attrition and the amount of people that have left, now you're having to sit there and replace that production. And so I truly believe that this team can, and I'm not just saying that because of the Notre Dame, fandom. I'm saying that because of the fact that I've watched Marcus Freeman and this coaching staff continuously plug and play and put in new players, especially on the offensive line and juggling things around that got us to a national championship berth.
Yeah.
So I believe that they can do it. I know they can. I'm really excited about it, but I still share your same, worries about different things because of the fact that it's like we don't have a lot of the returning players. And so when you don't have those returning players, that continuity leaves. And building rhythm and building continuity, which I've spoken about numerous times, is extremely important. These kids need to be on the same page as the coaching staff. They need to be on the same page with each other, as far as timing and rhythm, especially with Carr and these new wide receivers. And where does it all start, John? Exactly what you were talking about, which is my number one focus for myself, the offensive line. If the offensive line gives him time and allows him to go through his progressions and doesn't rush him and he doesn't feel like he's going to get, hit off the back end or any of that other stuff, then he's going to be able to execute a lot better. He's going to be able to build that continuity, to build that rhythm with those wide receivers. And same thing with Aeneas Williams or whoever is the running back. Go ahead and you will have the time, or here's a hole, get through it, so it starts with the offensive line.
It's man, it's really, really going to be interesting. There is a lot. There's the upside here. I think it's fantastic. It's just, I got to see it. Adam, I love you, buddy. I hope you have a good weekend in California with the kids or something. I know you got good weather. Go do something outside.
Will do, buddy. And all I'm going to do all day is just picture you in those 20-inch rims in the Isuzu, baby.
Telling you, man, I was bumping and thumping. Baby. All right, Adam, have a good weekend. Thanks.
Take care, brother.
Appreciate it. Oh, man. It's just Andrew Gilmore. Why, I got the mayor of Chicago coming up, and it doesn't look like Lori, thank God. The mayor of Chicago's coming up. I got Tom. I see you. Brendan. I see you. Rodney. I see JT. Andrew says, why have anxiety? You have one of the highest paid OCs and a top 5 QB. What could go wrong? I don't know if it's sarcasm or not. I need to see Carr take the year 2 jump. I need to see Carr not have any sophomore slumpage, take off, and represent those Heisman odds. I need to see that. The running backs, who's going to step up and succeed in all those snaps and all that yardage that we're missing. That wide receiver thing, I got questions all over it. Tight ends, questions about that. O-line, questions about that. I just do. I got questions, man. Tom, good morning in the fine city of Chicago. What's up, brother?
Oh, man. John, a great kickoff to your show this morning. I was laughing about the bumping and grinding and moving and shaking with the music. It's just the generation gap between us is hilarious because in my day, I can remember driving down to Notre Dame on a Notre Dame game day with the animals in the car after drinking all night in the saloons, and we'd be blaring Led Zeppelin, the Rolling Stones, and even early AC/DC.
There you go.
We get 20 minutes from Notre Dame, and then the Irish Rebel tunes go on. And
you know what's funny? The best part about what you just said is you called it a saloon. Yes. That is amazing. I just picture Tom kicking his cowboy boots through the swinging doors and then heading to South Bend, leaving that saloon, brother.
Oh yeah, we would leave the 2 o'clock joints, hit the 4 o'clock joints in Cicero. And then they would sell packaged goods, so we'd pick up 2 cases of Old Style and a carton of red Marlboros for the ride down there. I mean, beer cans going out on the Indiana Toll Road. We didn't give a fiddler's part.
Tom, it is such a generational thing, man.
Yeah.
My dad would be like, they would pull us over drinking and driving and just tell us to dump it out and go home.
That's right.
Like, now that happens to you, your whole life's over. He's like, they would just pull you over and make you dump it out and follow you home and say, don't go out again tonight.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
The times have changed. That's
when I was a kid, I remember being with my dad and my uncles, and they would have thermoses full of Manhattans, and they would bring them into the game. Jesus Christ. Smoking Lucky Strikes and Camels, no filters. a different time.
It builds character. It builds character, those no filters. So
it didn't do me any harm. I'll tell you that.
Now, you know what makes this picture complete? You doing all of that. Then at the last minute in the parking lot, changing into your priest outfit to get in the game for free.
That day I remained sober.
The camels, he throws the camel out, puts the collar on, and you're ready to go.
The only thing was I didn't partake in beverage that morning. I waited until after the game. Oh my God, that was hilarious. But listen, Andrew brought up some great points about continuity, and I agree with. But you know me, I like history, and you look at the last 3 Notre Dame national championships, and what did they all have in common? Phenomenal defensive lines.
Yep.
That's where now Andrew talked about the offensive line. Obviously, the line of scrimmage is the most important part, right? But if they can have a disruptive defense, which I think they can, that could cover a multitude of sins early on the offense. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So let's look back at 19, and I love this parallel to the 2026 team preseason to the 77 national championship team. That team was a preseason number 1, Sports Illustrated, Sporting News, and I believe Street and Smiths. And guess who was the starting quarterback that year? Rusty frickin' Leash. Rusty Leash. And the second string quarterback was Gary Forsteck. Number 3 was Joe Montana, and he didn't come in until the fourth quarter of the third game against Purdue, and the rest was history. I mean, that defense kept them alive. So what happened to them in 77? They went on the road, opening game, Pittsburgh, the defending national championship, Pittsburgh, and they were still a good team. Notre Dame's defense kept them in that game. They win 19-9, but they could not move the football. Second week, they go down to Mississippi and they get beat 20-13. Then the senior leadership took over. You had those All-Americans on the defensive line. Ross Browner, Willie Fry. You had Bob Golick on that team. Ted Bergmeyer and Joe Restic on the defense. All All-Americans. And they just had a meeting and said, forget this. Let's take control. But the continuity on the coaching staff was there as well. You had Joe Ianto, the defensive line coach, Brian Bullock. You had George Kelly, the linebacker coach. They had been in the Parsegian era, moved to Divine. That's what kept that team solid. And then finally, Joe Montana. Yeah, Divine woke up and said, well, I got no choice, but I got to play Joe Montana. And all of a sudden, the rest is history. So what do we have over that? We're a preseason number 1 in the mind of the pundits, which I don't believe. I think that's a false narrative. I do believe they're setting us up for a fail. They can't wait. So we need to exercise a little stoicism. Forget them. To hell with the national media. They're lazy takes. Josh Pate, Joe Klatt, McElroy, and all the ESPN assholes. Forget them. Block them out. It'll save some of your sanity. I don't care what they say. Watch the narrative change the closer you get to kickoff on the first weekend. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Oh, wait a minute. Texas A&M and Georgia and Alabama. Look out for Alabama. You know, that's what's going to happen, right? So forget them. Just concentrate on the Irish. And I think the defensive line has a chance to be very disruptive.
Yeah, Tom, that is maybe one of the things I'm looking most forward to seeing this year. Yes. If Charlie Partridge is what everybody claims he is, he should be able to get more out of the guys we already have in that room and get a little more out of their skill sets.
Yes.
And then you mix in those 3 new bodies that all have different skill sets from the portal, especially defensively. That is my focus. Yeah. If they could get after the quarterback without sending a bunch of guys from the next level.
Rushing 4.
Oh my God, dude. Then how good's that secondary going to be then? How good are those linebackers going to be then? If you could get a little more of that, I can't wait to see that.
Yeah, and look, it was the parallel to the 1988 national championship with Chris Zorich, Boo Williams, and Jeff Alm. I mean, they were disruptive, right? So that's all you need, a little bit of that, and coming off the edge, I think you'll be golden. They're gonna have to step up. I think about, okay, are they going to be explosive on offense? And they have a chance to be very explosive, especially with the defense setting up field position. Field position is going to be so important, especially in the big games. So by the time they get to BYU and Miami, I think they're going to be a well-oiled machine. They should be, as long as the continuity and the injury problem isn't there. I still am looking at, I got Wisconsin and Michigan State circled, and I know the Notre Dame haters on here that are all the trolls on here are going to be laughing at me. But let me tell you something. That's not going to be an easy game in Lambeau. And when they go to Michigan State, when Fitzgerald despises Notre Dame because he was slighted. Holtz did not offer him a scholarship, and he was pissed off, went to Northwestern. He beat him as a player, and he's beat him as a coach. He knows how to – he's not afraid of Notre Dame. So, and, he wants to put that – I guarantee you Michigan State will be rebuilt under him. He will be able to get those types of players, those physical players, and that could be a real early test. So, look, like you, John, I'm not satisfied until I see the product, right? But the potential, preseason potential. I mean, to think about this, the first preseason number one since 1977. That's pretty magnanimous as far as I'm concerned.
And listen, I just if you do this right, it all sets up. If you win that early batch of games, heading to BYU with a clean slate, no losses, now he's faded to black, folks, then you're going to be in a really, really good place. You're going to be, Andrew, that's funny. Tom, I don't know what happened. You blacked out on me, Tom. You got blacked out. Brendan, what's going on? Rodney and JT coming up. We'll see if
Hey,
we
John.
get
Oh, man,
what's
you got
up,
me
Brendan?
where I can't
Good morning,
hear you again.
buddy.
If it's okay, I'm dial out and call back in.
Well, I got you. I lost Tom. I got you. What's going on? Where's all my people? What the hell's going on? Rodney, what's up, buddy?
Yeah, John, I'll talk to you.
Yeah,
I'll talk to you, John.
Thank you.
All these bums. I'm kidding. John, you and I are very similar when it comes to your stereo history, your car stereo history. John, I got a great story for you.
Yeah.
So this is let me think. This is 1994. And I bought a Ford Tempo, which was an 89. It had like 50,000 miles on it. So at that time, it's a good car. John, I beat this car up so bad. There's a point where I kid you not, for some stupid reason, I needed a new battery in my car at some point. So I took the battery out and put the new one in. I literally wasn't thinking. Put the old battery in the back seat of the car. And of course it leaks battery acid. My entire back seat was just all ruined from it. I had an issue where the hood wouldn't open correctly. So we had to bungee cord the hood up. I had to bungee cord the trunk because I'm not even kidding. I had 2 bungee cord on the front and back, battery seat. But John, all my priority in that car went to the sound system.
Yeah.
I continually bought the best tweeters, the best 6x9s, the best subwoofer.
Right? You had your priorities straight.
I had my priorities where they absolutely need to be. I had 2 amps. And, I was into all the hip hop stuff too, but I was, Tom would appreciate this. I was because I was in that was my first band I was in at that time. And I was way into Pink Floyd and Hendrix and The Who and the Beatles, Zeppelin, all that, but I also listened to, a lot of the hip hop stuff.
Man, I tell you, Rodney, when I'm in the mood, That Pink Floyd, if you allow it, it will transport you to another place if you let it. Like that.
Oh,
That is another kind of music that hits me a different way, dude. The Pink Floyd, some of it, if you let it, it will drift you away into another place. It's amazing.
there's something about Floyd. It's so different, obviously, than any other music, really. But a lot of hip hop guys like Floyd. It's weird. It's like there's something there because I know you do. My best friend Mike and I, he's come to the tailgate a couple times. Got to get him back there, by the way. But we talked about you, man. We gotta talk Pink Floyd with John, or get John more into Pink Floyd, or more than he already is, or whatever.
Did I meet Mike? Is he a bigger dude with the beard? Is that Mike?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I remember me. I think you guys came to the house once when I had a house for one of those games.
We did. Yeah, we got to get him back there.
Yeah,
we got to get him back. Anyway, all right. So anyway, but I totally relate, dude. My priority system was, I always got the best home system, in terms of TV. That's where my, everything else, I saved my money. I saved my money for travel, whatever. But when it comes to like the toys, it was all sound system, entertainment. So I agree with you there.
High priorities there, Rodney. Okay, now give me your priorities on the offense. Am I over worrying, Rodney? Tell me if I'm worrying too much.
Well, it's funny, John. I went to the oh God, what's his name? The really nice guy that does the Ohio podcast. What's his name?
Yeah, Eric.
Eric. Yeah, Eric. When I'm like, I've gone over there a couple of times. I've listened to him nitpick Ohio State's wide receiver group, and I'm like, what? Yeah, you guys really got some problems in that wide receiver. I'm talking like a year ago, and I would, so it is just, man, when you're in it, you're looking at every little nuance, and it's like, of course, there are no perfect teams, especially now. I mean, John, they had that top 10 quarterbacks thing, that Ari guy from, I don't remember what, and they do a pretty good job. Putting Carr at number 10, I'm like, dude, that's a little bit, come on, you're just doing that you can't honestly believe he's the 10th quarterback in the country. He's got to be at least top 5 or 6, right? Yeah. But what I will say,
Ari goes at Notre Dame. So whenever I see him in Notre Dame, because he really went against Notre Dame, so I never know what his angle is.
But what I will say, the difference between 1 and 10 is so minuscule these days. And I say that also with the rankings. I mean, it just isn't. It's like before, John, we would get some top 5 preseason hype in the past several years with Kelly. But if we were in the top 5, that meant the 2 or 3 teams ahead of us were like, in reality, 20 spots ahead of us. It's just that, after, Georgia and Alabama, and at that time, Ohio State, and Clemson, then there was everybody else. So Notre Dame might have been number 5 or whatever, but we were like way below. Now it's not like that, man. You got I mean, as you could see last year in the playoffs, Notre Dame got left out. We know they should have been in, but I think Notre Dame could have won it all. And okay, so my anxiety is really, it's continuity with the receivers for sure. I'm not that worried about it though, because we don't play anybody early in the year. I say that, I could be regretting that now, saying that there might be a team or two that really pops next year that we're not expecting. I'm sure that's going to happen, by the way.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's going to be
real quick, Rodney. You bring up something really important that I think I need to do a better job of realizing and acknowledging. Yeah. In the world of the portal where 30, 40, 50 guys can come on and off any roster, you always do have to be on alert that a new blend of guys will pop on a team that was no good the year before because you're flipping so many people. That's a new age consideration that you got to have. Even some teams that don't recruit at a top 20 level, that you could hit the portal with the right blend of guys and do some really good things. That's on my mind now. You got to be aware of that. Good point.
John, I didn't see Texas Tech coming out of nowhere last year like that. I guess there were probably some national guys that were more into, because we're so into Notre Dame, that may have predicted that, but I didn't necessarily see that coming. And yeah, man, it's a great point. I mean, we look at that schedule like, oh, what a cream puff schedule. We don't really know that yet. I'm not trying to make any illusion that this schedule is going to be ranked in the top 10 by the end of the year. Yeah. But it could be higher. It could be worse. We don't know. Maybe Miami falls off next year. Maybe BYU doesn't have the team that, they're expected to have top 15, 20-ish level. Or there's going to be a few other teams in that schedule. Maybe this is the year Wisconsin gets it right. Hopefully not in game 1. Yeah. But yeah, totally great point, John. Boy, I don't think that we're looking into that nearly enough. I gotta say this too, man, really quick. I saw Cam Newton on one of those BetterHelp commercials, and I couldn't help but think that Notre Dame derangement syndrome has sent him into needing help.
I'm telling you, man,
because that guy
he's way out there. He is way out there. Whatever, man.
I want to try to like Cam, man, because I don't like necessarily hating on people. I think we do too much. I know it sounds kumbaya-ish, but there's too much hate going on. But I'm telling you, man, when it comes to Notre Dame, I despise that guy. When it comes to Notre Dame, he is so unobjective, and it really upsets me, dude. It's like, you're going to call them at best mid? That's what he said. He said they're at best mid, and I'm like, dude, you are now you really look like a clown show. You know what I mean? So I just had to say, man, it was just funny when I saw the commercial BetterHelp. I'm like, yeah, it's because you're Notre Dame derangement syndrome. That's why you're promoting that show.
Yeah.
But okay, so yeah, continuity with the receivers for sure, man, because we really haven't seen the Great House Carr connection, have we? No. Riley Leonard was catching on with him towards the end of the year last year, 2 years ago. We know Faison. We know we got that. Everybody else is kind of a wild card, man. There's talent in that room, and I have confidence Carr will find it, but we don't know yet. Running backs, another one. I mean, we don't really know what that rotation is going to be. Again, I'm not that worried about it, but we still have to see it. And injuries along the offensive line that have been a staple of the Marcus Freeman era. Yep. So, yeah, man, when you talk about continuity, there's a ton of talent on offense, and God forbid anything happens to Carr. I'm really curious. So we're pretty sure that Buckner might have a year of eligibility or is going to be applying for one. Is that correct?
You know what? Great question. Somebody answer that, because I've seen rumors he could have a year left, and then other people say he doesn't. I have no idea. And that backup quarterback thing is a real question. I have no idea how that's going to go.
That could be a real, I mean, if Buckner does have another year left, we're talking about a guy that was part of Marcus Freeman's first team, and I know he's put his focus elsewhere since then and whatever, but that could be a real important cog in our climb to a national title if we could get someone like that back.
Somebody's saying he got declined. So then are you going to end up with grubs? Like, I don't know what you do at backup, but if you need it for a lot, I'm nervous.
Yeah, John, I'm with you, man, because look, last year Carr made it through all 12 games. But that's been rare. That's been rare, man. We haven't seen that under Notre. Have we? Has there been any quarterback that has made it through all 12 games other than last year?
I was going to say, Carr did it, and it's. I don't even want to think about it, because that's the biggest. That is the biggest thing that could go wrong in all this, is him missing major time for multiple weeks. But like, assuming that doesn't happen, man, there's a lot of talent. It just all has to come together. And am I a bad guy for saying I have anxiety till I see that it's all come together and is good enough? Is that wrong?
I suppose, I know we're not talking about defense, but I suppose you could also say that about defense in terms of the coaching continuity. Like, those three guys haven't really worked together, so there's that too. I could very well see this thing become very frustrating to us early on, where we win, but we're just not, God, is this team as good as we thought? But then by mid, Freeman has shown, man, I mean, we can pretty much rely on Freeman teams getting better as the year goes on. It just always happens that way. They always seem to get better, which is what you want. And especially this year where you're backloaded. So, but at the end of the day, John, all the raw materials are there for, I mean, again, going back to what Tom was saying about, the three national title teams that he saw. Yeah, I throw 93 in there too, even though that team didn't win it. They were a national title caliber, should have won it, let's be honest. Yeah. Finished number 2 in the country. But that defensive line was so dominant. The whole defense was good. They had a ton of talent. And those running backs, man, that you really didn't hear much about the year before. they had such a good line. I keep saying it, man, but this team reminds me so much of that one.
This is going to be high stakes Notre Dame football, man. This is a year everybody's circling, and we got to get it, and it's all got to come together. Now, the benefit you have is you don't have this program hangover in spring ball where half the guys needed surgery and we're out, and we're all like,
that's a good point.
You don't have that, so you should be able to fully attack spring football, fully attack August, and get this thing going. You should be able to do what you want to do, get a lot more work done in this session.
John, one last question about that. Because you're right. The whole Landau thing and the off-season workouts, you wonder how much of that affected them going into the fall and why they were a little rusty. How much of that was that? By the end, they looked like an extremely well-conditioned team by the end of the season. But this year, without having that grind, man, I got to expect we're going to be, man, we should be all hands on deck, basically. Has there been any more rumblings about coaching hires from the NFL that they're still up in the air, that we could be losing a couple guys, The
only one that I've been hearing about, and I have not been following the NFL hiring cycle, but I did hear Landau was interested in maybe joining the NFL. But I haven't heard anything about it for like a week. So maybe that's gone bye-bye. But I did hear that was a thing. And that's a big deal because the strength guy touches every part of the program. So if that happened, that would be a big deal.
Yeah, I agree, John. Hope. And it would be just like us to okay, I guess that's not a problem anymore. And then all of a sudden, we hear, someone like him left. So, But having said that, John, it's hard to come up with more topics to talk about other than when something actually happens, because this thing is, I feel as good as I felt ever. Kind of ever. Even going back to those Holtz years, man, this is now to the level, I think, where we've, again, because of parity and whatnot, it's different because you got more teams that are going to be right there with Notre Dame. But I will say, man, this is the best I felt about Notre Dame football. And I don't think it's like a big gap between Holtz and us. We can debate, okay, maybe this team had a little bit more than we did. Maybe we have a little bit more in this area, but I think we are in that realm. We're in that same ballpark right now.
Yeah. Yeah, it's man, this is a big year, big opportunity. I can't wait to see how it goes. I'm going to worry about stuff till I see that I don't have to. It's just in my nature. But there are a lot of big opportunities for this program. Rodney, anything else? Thanks for touching base.
Not at all, buddy. Have a great one. I'm really looking forward to counting the days to blue and gold. So
have a good one, and make sure the bungees are strapped tight on that hood, baby.
All right, man. Have a good one.
See ya. Ryan Elliott, $10 holler. Thank you very much. He donates $10 all the time every week, and he never really even says anything. It makes me feel kind of guilty. Mark, I'm going to give you this. David Gilmour, dude, there is just something about the way that guy works that guitar. It's dreamy. It comes off weird, but it's almost dreamy. The guy's just got a gift. This one note, and oh, that's David Gilmour. He's one of those guys where one note, you're like, that's Gilmour. Not Andrew Gilmour, not Appy Gilmour, David Gilmour. That's different. I'm telling you, he is one of my all-time favorites. He's one of the few guys. Him and Clapton are two guys on my list guitar-wise I've always wanted to see and never have. I've seen Santana. I like some of those historically known guitar guys. Eric Clapton and Gilmour are two I'd love to see. ND, typically a slow starter under Freeman. That needs to end. That is another reason I'm saying that opening schedule should help, because it's not a gauntlet. You can't just roll the ball out there and win, but it is not a gauntlet. That should help with some of those September problems the team has had under Freeman. Here's something else too, James. Here's something else. That needs to end, James. You and I both know darn well the Northern Illinois thing can happen anytime. That needs to be over. And you didn't have one of those last year. You lost 2 games, but they were the 2 toughest games, 2 toughest rosters on the schedule. So you got to be past that. You got to be Sankofa. You're absolutely right. People could make fun of this all they want. John Mayer is an elite level guitar player. And when you hear that, you're like, oh, I could just picture John singing Your Body is a Wonderland at the Tinley Park Amphitheater. Bro, his blues guitar stuff is elite. You got guys like Eric Clapton being like, I was blown away and B.B. King and Eric Clapton, like, I was blown away playing with John Mayer. Like, it isn't. John Mayer is a blues guitarist in his soul. He did the poppy stuff to get popular enough to get to the point where now he can do whatever he wants. Go on tour with the Grateful Dead. Go do whatever you want. I'm just saying, like, don't just think it's the poppy stuff. That guy is a hell of a blues guitarist, and I've seen him multiple times. Really, really gifted blues guitarist. But if you want to go see a bunch of cute girls, go ahead and go to a John Mayer concert. Kidding me? Unbelievable. I'm jealous of that guy's guitar playing. Unbelievable. Brendan, what's going on, buddy?
John, good morning, sir. I think I got you better this time. Hey, you are indeed worrying too much.
Ooh, good. Give it to me. Make me feel better when I got questions in every single position group on the offense. Make me feel better.
So I would offer as a comparison, right? So historical trends may indicate future performance. So going back, again, some little bit of independent research, digging into the numbers. So the average returning production for the national championship teams from 2014, so essentially the playoff era to now, has ranged anywhere from about 60 to 75%. It's obviously a little bit different now due to transfer portal, and year to year, there's a big shift potentially. But at least the folks who track it, they're saying Notre Dame, we're right at 61. So that's not ideal, but it's not like we're in the 40s or 20s or any of that sort of thing. So we're well within historical norms. And the other thing I was thinking about, a lot of the production of a Jeremiah Love or a Jadarian Price, this isn't to come off wrong because it's certainly beneficial, but it's kind of padded. Like, I don't think our offense necessarily relied on 80-yard touchdowns. Now, when we got them, it was incredible, but it wasn't like if Jeremiah Love didn't spin move the guy from Pitt, would that drive not have produced points? Probably not. Like, we probably would have, gone down the field more methodically. And so that's why I'm not necessarily concerned with Aeneas. So are we going to have 80-yard ridiculous hurdle touchdowns? Probably not. But I don't think our offense needs that to be productive.
Brendan, that's a really fair point. I was thinking about how to process it in my head. That next group doesn't need to be Love and Price to be really, really good and productive and do what the offense needs, right? Because it would be, you can't just think you're going to plug the next guys in and they're going to give you all the dynamic stuff Love gave you, because that's a once in a generation guy. But I also don't think they have to for this to get where it needs to be, right? Yep. They could be really damn good and not be Jeremiah Love. You know what I'm saying? I'm open to that.
Yep. Because, for a functioning offense, again, I'm not an X's and O's person, but I listened to a little bit of the Coach Jared. I mean, a running back needs to get 4 yards. If you get 4 yards, then that's, continues the drive and, that's productive. And I'd like to think that our, the floor for our running back room is certainly more than Dern averaging 4 yards a rush. And, you kind of just look at the input side, like we're recruiting at a very, very high level. Again, hopefully injuries don't crush our offensive line, but we're recruiting at a very high level. So like on the, what can a program do to put themselves in a good position? I think we're doing all the right stuff. So it would be.
Okay, Brendan, let me ask you, what is your comfort level with the wide receiver room. You have some interesting pieces there, some emerging guys, some guy you want to see Greathouse healthy, get back to where he was. You feel good about Faison. What's your trust level in Burris or Cam or Gilbert? And then the big question is, where do the two Ohio State guys fit in this?
Yeah. I mean, if there's a question, I would say that's the biggest one, because we don't necessarily have the track record of proven production in the wide receiver room that we've had in the running back room.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, I guess I'd say, again, from a raw materials or an input perspective, a bunch of guys who are highly recruited out of high school. Carr is going to, his strength is being accurate and putting guys in the right position. So I'd like to think that they'll be able to do that. So I don't know. I mean, B plus. I mean, you're not going to see it until you see it. But I don't think it's anything to lose sleep over. And I guess maybe the only thing that's kind of the back of my head is it's been a while since we recruited a highly ranked wide receiver. They were developed and they performed on the field. And maybe Greathouse, I don't remember, what his recruiting rankings were, but I just think about Merriweather. He kind of fanned out. Cam Williams thus far hasn't been a superstar. There was the 5-star Keys, or whatever the guy's name was, who transferred out early on and didn't do anything. So not to say that, Cam Williams is necessarily behind production, because he's still got a few years left, or behind schedule because he still has a few years left. But you do see like some other guys like Tony or Smith or some of the, what's the guy from Alabama, popped on the scene really early and they do really well. We haven't seen that necessarily quite yet. But again, again, outside of that, what do you have? You're almost certainly going to have some kind of productive tight end. You're almost certainly going to have some kind of productive running back, and you have a very good quarterback. Like, you couldn't really have asked from unless you're going to get Trevor Lawrence or something, like a extremely good freshman first year for CJ Carr. So all the other pieces are in place that if there's a time for these guys to step up, like the opportunity is certainly there for them to do well. And I guess I just offer, I think every team, like, it's going to be extremely rare nowadays to where you're going to have a full season of guys doing very well, particularly a place that recruits well like Notre Dame, and have enough of those guys come back that you know across the board. Our 2 deep is littered with juniors and seniors that are superstar NFL level talent that are going to come back for the next year. Like, that's just not how the process can work.
Yeah.
And so I think we're about as in a good spot with recruiting and the retention that we did have, which I think is something that we're not appreciating enough, that we for real did not lose guys we could have lost. And that's a big deal. And so, I think we're set up for a good spot.
Yeah. You bring up a really good point. I was thinking about this during the portal period and all that. I think college football fans take for granted the retention of your good players that you don't lose. You want to look at the next shiny thing you could add. You don't get enough attention about how hard it is to retain your really good players and not have them get bought off or go somewhere else. Notre Dame's done a great job.
Yep. And, going forward, so I think as Coach Hyde, he talks about, you should plan on, or kind of the old school way of looking at things is you're going to have a recruiting class every given year, and about a third of those guys will be hits, a third of those guys will be contributors / special team folks, and a third of the guys not going to really do anything for your team.
Yeah.
We had, like, when you look at the numbers, right, it was 27 or 30 incoming freshmen, which obviously the math doesn't math to end up with the team size. So, we're planning on losing a bunch of those folks. And we did this year, right? Like, we had 18, 19, 20 guys leave and we had 7 or 8 come in. How good are we at, not losing guys who blow up elsewhere? So you kind of take the Pat Coogan result. It's not necessarily 1-to-1, because maybe if he had stayed at Notre Dame, he would have been on the bench, or just circumstances would have been different that he wouldn't succeed. But I think really for the skill guys, because I think overall the numbers in the wide receiver room are pretty big. So it will be something to see is like, we compare our production year over year. And then if we lose the third or folks that we lose or whatever, what we don't want to see is them go out and crush it and, be 1,000-yard receivers for other folks.
Yeah.
Which I don't think has happened yet.
Yeah. What it could be is what we've always wanted. I just need to see it all come together. And maybe we'll get a lot of these answers in spring ball and then through August. And maybe things will just kind of line up and guys will slot in and you'll have a better feel of it. It's just all that focus on like Chris Ash and any anxiety people have about that 2 deep is way more established in the offensive. I know that's my only point.
Yep. I also, John, I think you might be being too generous to Chris Ash and how absurd the defense was the first couple games. Because I don't think our margins were razor thin. Our pass defense was so absurdly bad compared to what it was at the end of the previous season. Like if you go back and watch the game, it is like it makes zero sense how wide freaking open
Yep.
the opponents, which I guess what I'm saying, it's not like they were, oh man, the guy made a crazy. I mean, there were, in every football game, you're going to have kind of a crazy play, right? Like the touchdown, the one-handed touchdown or whatever, that kind of stuff. But it's like, man, for half those guys, it was crazy. So I think that's an outlier. I don't think we're going to see that go next year. It's unfortunate, and we have no one else to blame but ourselves. But I think overall, we would just be feeling so much better because I do think the guys would have performed very well in the playoffs, and a lot of those guys would have been coming back. And so we would just have a much different mindset because there's that stage that the guys didn't get to perform on. But John, I'll say, I think it was a previous caller. I haven't felt this good about Notre Dame where we're at in an off season. I've been paying attention, I guess, 20 years now. So I think it's good.
And there's reason for that. But we have a long wait, and we're gonna think it all inside, outside, up and down, and we're gonna break it all down. Hey man, I really appreciate you jumping in. Have an enjoyable weekend, and hopefully we can see you at the Blue and Gold tailgate.
Hey, I appreciate it, John. Hey, last thing. Hey, I agree wholeheartedly with the mayor. Apathy. Don't listen or have anything to do with these national folks. They will just use you and lose you and abuse you. It's not a healthy relationship. There's a lot of Irish only, or I mean, I guess other teams, kind of non-national folks. There's a lot of YouTube content you listen to without giving a gosh dang what Joel Klatt or I don't know On3 has to say. So I just encourage you to direct your attention
advice, man. Yep. Really good advice. Hey, enjoy the weekend, and we'll talk to you next week. Thanks for joining.
All right, John, have a good one. Go Irish.
See ya. Yeah, man. When it comes, the media,
don't let the media tell you how to think and feel.
You can't do it. You can't. Marky Mark, what's up on a Friday?
Not a whole lot. Want to talk some offense. Year three, Denbrock. I think it's worth noting that the 2 years he's been around, he's had a top 5 scoring offense, and he's had 2 quarterbacks I don't think could have been any different from each other.
Yeah.
So I think that's kind of remarkable, and I think having a returning quarterback for the first time, seems pretty significant and
huge. It's a huge difference because you're starting at a place with so much more stability rather than being 2 weeks before Miami and you don't know who the starter is. Like this is totally different. Really good point by you. You have the stability of knowing who your guy is. You can build everything around him. Totally good point by you.
And I think if CJ Carr can hit the ground running last year, having been named a starter 12 days before the first game, with everything new, I think he should be able to do it again with kind of a similar set of circumstances and having experience. So I'm not as worried about like all these new components that he's going to have to work with, having, he basically did that last season with that quarterback competition. And I think like if you look through the offense, I'm sure you guys will do this on like Raw and stuff going through. You guys are doing your position rooms, but it's inevitable. The running back room is going to take a step back, obviously, but wide receiver could be an upgrade. Remains to be seen. Quarterback should be better, obviously, year 2. Offensive line should be better. But I think like, if CJ Carr is as good as he should be, that's going to solve a lot of these problems. I think Carr and Denbrock are kind of like part and parcel with this upcoming season. I think that's going to be, obviously the big thing. And I know, last season I have it here, they had 255 passing yards a game, 205 rushing yards. So can they keep that ratio up, or
Yeah,
do
pretty
they
good
have
balance. Pretty healthy balance.
to? Yeah. So and
Mark,
we have like
wide receivers. What's your comfort level in that room? There's a lot of potential, but I want to see it all come together. I want to see these guys emerge. What is your confidence level there?
I don't know. We got like 20 receivers. We got 2 Ohio State guys. We got two Faisons now. We got a Bubba. We got guys that have been around a couple years that are, dusty, that haven't done anything. We got new freshmen. It's like a freaking car lot in that room where you don't really necessarily know what you have. But I think I'm super optimistic on Great House. I know a lot of people are shitting on him. He had the injury and weird whatever that was last year, but I just can't get 2024 out of my mind. I just think he looked outstanding. I know it was 2 years ago, but I think he could return to form and at least have a significant role, if not the 1 or 2 receivers, at least like put up some numbers.
Yeah, and then I know this was a talk on the Patreon early this morning too about the tight ends. Can Denbrock integrate them a little more? What could you get out of that group? Are you gonna? It's double. You got double Flanagans with different spellings in the tight end room. Like what you're gonna get there? Denbrock has a lot of options of how he wants to approach this with Carr and that running game. There are a lot of options.
Yeah, and I had that a couple weeks ago where last season was the least productive season out of the tight end, and I think it was like 20 years or something. So it was like basically nothing. I think Raritan obviously didn't have any touchdowns and the freaking yardage was very minimal, but so yeah, that's definitely a huge opportunity there. I mean, that should have been huge for typically like the safety net for a young quarterback. So there's definitely some production to be had out of there, but yeah, that's about all I've got with kind of running through with what I think the offense could be, and obviously all dependent on, I think, the first and foremost offensive line. But before I leave, I want to say last thing. Valentine's Day is Saturday. So get it together. Love is in the air. 69 days until the NFL draft. Jeremiah Love. Shout out Jeremiah Love. 69 days. I think the NFL draft is in Pittsburgh this year. So shout out Jeremiah Love. Shout out to the chat. Get your shit together for Valentine's Day if you're celebrating. Sorry for that pause.
The pause is what got me. I knew something was coming. I just didn't know what. Mark, God bless you. I hope the wife lets you not have to sleep in the garage. Let's put it that way.
All right. Have a good weekend.
Oh, God, that's good. JT, what's up, buddy?
Hello, do I look pixelated to you this time?
No, you look, for better or worse, you look crystal clear.
Well, let me just remind everybody
Yeah.
that chicks dig the long ball.
Yeah, that's always been true.
If you want to watch Notre Dame hit dingers tonight, opening day, Notre Dame people in Miami, West Palm Beach, get out to Boca Raton. The Irish are playing FAU. And if you're not in that area, You unfortunately have to watch on the FAU website for some bizarre reason.
Yeah, that's thank you for the reminder on
Yeah.
that. Baseball season starting. JT, you've been listening to the discussion. What is your confidence level in the Notre Dame offense? What questions, what do you need to see to really feel comfortable about this? Or am I over worrying? You could tell me if I'm just over worrying.
You are very over worrying.
Ooh, I
We've
like this.
got
I like this. Make me feel better. Make me feel better.
We've got a full sports car parking lot full of all the fixins. We've got a Bugatti. We've got a Ferrari. We've got a Lamborghini. We've got a Mustang.
Hey, it sounds like a weekend visiting Texas for recruiting.
Yeah, we've got. Yes, it does. And we've got all of that in the receiving room. And we've got this beautiful running back, Aeneas Williams. He's going to run for like 100 yards a game. CJ's going to be slinging that rock all over that football field, Johnny.
Okay.
All over that football
so wait,
field.
So JT, you're that confident that these moving pieces, we're just going to plug them in there. The running backs are going to take off.
Sully, hold on, Sully. That is a mirror. That is a mirror.
You got
go ahead, Sully.
You're confident that O-line's going to be healthy and stay in one place. Those wide receivers are going to get in where they fit in, and everything's going to be good. Like you don't have anxiety about these moving pieces. The production, JT, 89% of your rushing yards gone, 65% of your production through the air gone. You feel like we'll be able to replace that?
Oh yeah, the rushing yards, all of that production's going to the NFL. And the receiving production, well, it's gonna. I'm confident that Jagasol is finally going to be healthy this year. We're finally going to see an offensive line that's actually the projected starting offensive line from start to finish this season.
Yeah. Yeah, it would, man, if you could get that offensive line to be in one piece, it would really, really go a long way to helping all of this. And then the other thing is, man, I want to see Carr take that next leap. I want to see if he's one of the Heisman favorites. I want to see it from week one, and it just takes off. I want to see if he's at that damn level.
And we're going to get a front row seat to that. April 25th, the blue and gold game. You're going to have the tailgate. Oh, yeah. It's going to be on Peacock for those of us that can't make it. We're going to get a good view of that at that time.
Yeah, it's it for sure, man. And I still need you to make the trip. I need to see you pound 38 beers in the parking lot, JT. I want to see it.
Well, I promised you that I was going to try, and well, I've still got some work to do some convincing, but I'm going to try. Anyway.
It would be great.
Anyway, I gotta address this. I'm sorry. I gotta address this.
Okay.
It's really nice and good that the players have not given up on Micah Shrewsbury. It is really good. Ooh. However, they do not get to backdoor triumphant and say everybody gave up on us when we're still losing basketball games.
JT, what's going to happen here, man? Is this guy gone? Is he gone after this year?
Is he gone? Well, if Garrity has enough cojones, he will be.
I mean, I don't know enough about the basketball, but it just sounds like you just can't be this bad.
it's really weird. Basketball is such a weird game. You can go out to Fort Worth and beat TCU. You can get all those great wins in the Attic Conference. And then you can lay an egg in the conference season, and everybody forgets about all the good work that was done at a conference. It doesn't help that Marcus Burton's made out of glass.
Yeah.
Similarly to what Jagasaw's been made out of recently. Can't remember the time when Burton's been really healthy.
Yeah. It's good point, man. You're giving me more stuff to worry about. You're giving me more stuff to worry about, man.
It's just the life of Notre Dame athletics. It's just for life. It's just for life, man. And
you're telling the truth there. Yeah. Okay.
The next weekend, if you can't make it out to Boca Raton, I forget where this is, but Notre Dame is playing a bunch of teams in a multi-team event somewhere in the South. One of those teams happens to be old SEC LSU. So maybe that'll be something. Woo. I haven't seen where that's available. Probably on some random YouTube channel nobody's ever heard of before. But You know what? Oh, it feels good to be a Notre Dame fan today. It feels good.
You're the man. I love your energy, bro. I wish I had your energy every day, man. I like your vibe, JT.
Thank you, John. And it is such a pleasure to be here. And what I want the Notre Dame people to realize, all the non-Notre Dame people to realize that might come in here to troll. We had Adam, who lives out in California. The mayor of Chicago showed up. We had people from all over the country show up on this radio broadcast. I live in Baltimore. I know, John, you're from Chicago. The Pope's from Chicago. The Pope went to Villanova. Notre Dame basketball is somehow opening up next season in Rome. I don't know what we did to deserve that opportunity.
I know. They're going to need to be absolved of their sins. I think that's why they're doing that. Close proximity.
Speaking of, just a reminder to everybody that this is the last Friday before Easter that you are allowed, if you're a Catholic, to eat meat. Ash Wednesday is coming up quick.
Yeah.
Ash Wednesday is coming up this Wednesday.
It is. And I think WPP gives up my show for Lent. He's been doing it the last few years, and he's like, I got to give up something I like that I'm going to miss. And so he, yes, I am wine and cheese. And so he usually gives me up for Lent.
That's something very interesting. Okay.
Chris Ash Wednesday, JT. Suds, I got to give Suds credit for that one. It's Chris Ash Wednesday.
Thank you, Suds. Thank you for that, Suds. You're a real gem for that. Anyway, the last thing that I really wanted to mention today is that we finally have a 5-star recruit from Baltimore that's going to be playing football for Notre Dame, and I could not be more proud of Corey Adams for making the right choice, not just for his football career, but for his life. Corey Adams believes in the 4 for 40. Everybody that is on this football team believes in the 4 for 40. All of these other people, the 4 for 40, hopefully is still going to be real to these football players, and especially these basketball players for the state of basketball recruiting.
Yeah, it's
Like,
Yeah,
you know,
it's a
basketball
struggle.
recruiting is full of people that are there for a year and are gone the next. It wouldn't surprise me when Shrewsbury gets fired of a new coach, just like what Shrewsbury had to do when Bray retired, had to completely rebuild, because you see this in basketball a whole lot since the transfer portal and NIL came in, that the whole team leaves. When the coach leaves, the whole team leaves.
Yeah,
It don't matter.
maybe
if the
that'll
coach-
be good for Notre Dame.
Well-
maybe that's what you need.
Perhaps not. Anyway, I'm going to allow you to get other callers in. Shout out to this chat, who is one of the best chats I've seen on YouTube live. And I am considering heavily, finally, subscribing to that Patreon.
Oh yeah, baby.
that you
JT,
have.
you fit right in over there with your personality, brother. You got that. I'm telling you what, you're the one and only, baby. JT, I love you. I love your energy. Have a good weekend, brother. Enjoy whatever sports you're gonna watch.
I'm gonna be watching the 500 on Sunday if it don't rain in Daytona.
I love it, buddy. You got everything. You're all over, man. I appreciate it. Have a good one, JT. You're the man. God, I love that dude. I love that energy, dude. JT has that energy I wish I had all the time. All right, I'm out of here. I'm taking some more cold medicine. I got out tonight on Patreon. It's a longer one, like 20-something minutes. It's exactly about something Andrew Gilmore put in the chat like an hour ago. It's literally examining exactly what Andrew Gilmore brought up. And I went off on it. It's like 26, 28 minutes or whatever. That's going to go out tonight to give you guys some Friday night action there. And then we'll see how the weekend goes, with Valentine's Day. Try and be nice to your people, whatever. I don't know. But you guys, thanks for being here. Thanks for the chats. Thanks for the donation. I love you. Happy Valentine's Day.